Hello there and welcome to my channel. This is Non-Gone and today we're playing Death Stranding. This is the original PS4 version, the non-director's cut. We're playing on PS5 to reduce loading screens because we're in the middle of a speed platinum run. And it's all post-commentary. I did this run already. My time was 45 hours and 43 minutes. And that was good enough to be first place, but I think you could do better. At least 20 hours you could shave off this run if you're more prepared than I was. So the goal of this detailed walkthrough is to provide more efficient ways to do it, or ways that I think. It's based on a lot of speculation, but my experience as well, and not so much focus on what I did. This is video 8, as I mentioned, and we have already done most of the eastern region. So cosplayer, engineer, elder, all that stuff. There may be a few people that still need to be 5-star down there, but we knocked out the Timefall farm and the veteran porter, so we don't even have to go down there anymore, except for getting memory chips. We have 43 memory chips, and at this point, I'm going to stop talking about memory chips, and we're going to get all the last 13 all at once. You can go to the last video and work these into your route. I didn't do it very well myself, and I can't even find where I did it in my run at this point, so I'll just list the last 13 later. So we're not going to talk about memory chips in this video. What we are going to talk about is the Novelist Sun. We're sitting at the distro center in the northwest corner of the map, and I'm not sure how well you have done on your run with the Novelist Sun. In mine, I hadn't even started him, and I lost 12 hours on the Novelist Sun. And let me tell you how that happened. So when you leave the distribution center, head on out with a trike or a truck or whatever, it doesn't matter. Go around this lake here, and eventually you'll come to this little hut, and that is the Novelist Sun. The way you have to start him, there's no other way to do this than this piece of lost cargo that's right down the hill from him. Pick that up, deliver it to the terminal. That'll get you to just before 1 star and also introduce you to the guy. Now, in my run, I actually delivered it. I figured out what happened. I finally looked at the tape. I delivered it, but I had a bomb on my back going to Mountain City, and I hit a rock on the way to Mountain Knot City, and it game overed me. It gave me the checkpoint at the Novelist Sun because it was the last terminal I'd been to. But when it does it, it checkpoints you before you make the delivery. I didn't even realize that it did this. So I took off again, went up to Mountain Knot, and I still had that lost cargo on my back. The next step in the walkthrough is to go down the hill and fast travel. And when it does that, it puts all your cargo in a private locker. So rather than respawn, it just stuck it in that locker and left it there. When I went back to grow the Novelist Sun, that lost cargo was gone, and I thought it had glitched. I thought we were done. It's the only way to get to introduce yourself to him. There's no other lost cargo on the map. There's no deliveries that'll show up until you do. And and so I walked around, looked stuff up on the internet, tried to find like glitch reports, went back to old saves, did everything I could, finally gave up, went to sleep, thought the run was over, slept for about 6 hours. Talked with my wife, who is definitely my brain trust, who came up with some other great ideas. So we went back. We reloaded the PS4 version. We deleted and reinstalled the game data. We did basically everything we possibly could. And after 10 hours of sleeping and drama, I finally gave up and said, all right, this is unobtainable. Let's just call it. I've never had to give up on a speed platinum before. And I knew eventually something would come up and it would happen. And I thought this was it. And right before I turned the game off, I thought of the private locker. And lo and behold, I went there. I checked it out. It was right there. And I was able to start. Now, I said 12 hours, even though I mentioned 10. That's because I leveled up the Novelist Sun for an hour and then realized that all the save stuff that I was doing, I had loaded a save from the night before that I hadn't 5-starred the first prepper on yet. And so I'd wasted an hour and had to go back and redo it again. Anyway, cool story. Don't do that. You don't want no part of that. If you pick this up, make sure it ends up in the Novelist Sun's hands. Once you do that, you want to turn around, you want to head up to the distribution center. And again, if you watch my video, you already did this part. Wait for his email about gourds, turn right back around, save and reload your game, and grab that piece of cargo again and give it to him again, and then go rest. And you will get a second email from him that will allow you to move on to your 2nd star. Once that happens, build a zip line to the distro center so you don't have to keep driving back and forth. And save and reload until he gets just before the 3rd star and stops his progress again. at which point you want to sleep until you get another gourd-based email from him. I think it's I saw space in a gourd, and that is your cue that you can go on, take one more piece of cargo, and he'll move on to the 4th star. So either way, either do that now or do that earlier. If he is on the UCA and he's joined your cult already, you're that much further ahead. Good job. The nice part is you will actually start getting deliveries for him up in the mountains, so you can save a little bit of trouble there. In addition, the distro center that you're at has 2 deliveries for him. So go ahead and grab those once you're at 3 stars and give them to him, and that'll get you almost to the 5th star. Now, I'm not sure how you want to roll with this guy from here on out. He's got a fetch quest, and it is up in that terrorist camp, and that terrorist camp is super, super obnoxious. If you do decide to do it, if you need the S ranks for your miscellaneous and you need the likes for him, you will get a lot of likes. You'll also see a ton of lost cargo for him on the way up there. Maybe you could just grab that and bring it back. But I suggest you grab, like, gosh, I don't know, some non-lethal assault rifles, like 4 of them. Make sure you take body armor and put one on your left shoulder and one on your right shoulder. I think that'll keep you from dying better. Grab like 4 body bags. There's like 20 terrorists up here. They have lethal weapons. They will shoot you. And they'll hide behind trees. It's very difficult to use a Ebola gun. On hard difficulty, it takes like 10 punches, and you'll have 8 guys shooting you by the time you get to them. It's just really obnoxious. But if you want to try it, go for it. You got to get cargo. Again, clean the camp out before you pick up any cargo. You do not want to bump into a wall or get it shot off your back and lose your S rank for this. So good luck if you want to do that. If not, you can 5-star him in other ways, either by lost cargo or by going up into the mountains. So Novelist Son, done. Let's head up in the mountains. From the distribution center, make sure you grab both loads for your first prepper. Grab anything that's going to the photographer if you want. She's fine too. We'll get her later. And anything else that you can carry that's going up into the mountains. It's not very much, I don't think, so you can probably take a trike, but go ahead and drive up to Mountain Knot City. Once you get there, store everything that isn't for the first prepper in the private locker at Mountain Knot and head on up to the first prepper. Now, when you get there, you've already done his fetch quest, so at least he's up to just before 1 star. There's nothing you can do. You have to give him a free delivery with no progress. So go to his terminal. Do not make both deliveries at once. Take the one that has 2 packages and put those in his private locker, and then make the other delivery by itself. For that, you will be rewarded with nothing. You get no progress. You get some likes, which I do think you get back at the end. But yeah, that's it. He doesn't even really say hi. So again, aside from the Novelist Son, which was quirky and weird, this is my least favorite prepper. He's up here by no one. Hardly anybody has even deliveries for him. The ones that do, you got to come all the way up in the mountains. It's just obnoxious. His fetch quest is dumb and difficult. It's I don't know. It's here to let you know that the game does have teeth sometimes, I guess. But anyway, enough of that commentary. Well, let's get back to the walkthrough. So he's got a delivery for the Mountaineer, and the closest safe house that I found is usually by the Mountaineer. So you might as well grab that and drop it off, and then rest in the safe house. Read any emails you get, and keep resting until you don't get any emails at all when you wake up. That should include a second email from the first prepper. And that's your cue that he's ready to move to the 2nd star. So zip line back up there, pull those 2 pieces of cargo out of the private locker, and make your delivery. And that should progress him to the 2nd star. It should let him at least get you on the network. So that's great. I don't know what you'd use it for at this point. You really needed him to be on the network when you were doing the fetch quest, but that was not to be. Anyway, once you do that, there's not a whole lot to do. It'll take you to right before the end of the 2nd star. Go back down and rest in your safe house until you get another email from him or 2, and read them, and then rest again and leave and rest again, and keep doing that until you get no more emails again. Once you get the, I think, 2nd email from him, that's your cue that you can move on to the 3rd star. There's no other deliveries that you have for him, but I'll give you a secret. There's a timed one from the doctor. So zipline over to the doctor, pick that one up, and zipline up to the first prepper and make that delivery. And that should get you to right before the 3rd star. Zip line back to your safe house by the Mountaineer. Sleep there again until you don't get any more emails. I believe the last email is called joining the UCA, and that is your cue that he's ready to join the cult. Unfortunately, you don't have any deliveries that are easily reachable from here, and you will also not get any lost cargo until he's on the UCA, so you kind of got to stop with him for now. I'm going to give you a little trick in the next video, so don't worry too much about him right now. I just wanted to knock that out because sometimes the doctor delivery will respawn by the time you're done in the mountains, and if it does, you want to go ahead and take it, so just keep that in mind. All right, first prepper down. 9 more to go. The next thing we got to do is build the rest of our zip line out here. You have most of it built. Obviously, we've been using it already this video, but we're going to connect the rest of these places that we laid down earlier. So start at Mountain Knot City and either walk or trike up the back here. There's a little peak off to the right. It is about 260 meters, I think, from where you just were. And you'll be able to reach the next one up on that building that you placed way, way long time ago and connect those two. And that'll take you all the way to the roboticist. And head out the back here and place one up at the top of this ridge. And that should connect where you just were with the line from Hartman's to the geologist, that big peak up there. At which point you can zip down to Hartman's from there too. So everybody's technically connected. I like to run up this little area here and add 1 or 2 more anchors for zip lines just to connect Hartman's so I don't have to run all the way around the roboticist to get back to Mountain Knot from this area. But once you do that, you're ready to start making deliveries. Again, I'm going to save the memory chips for the last video at this point. You can certainly get some on your way, but a lot of them don't spawn until you 5-star locations anyway. Again, make sure you do fetch quests if you can. Just remember there's at least 2 for the photographer and then at least 2 more in specific locations that are a lot easier to 5-star than the ones that are up here in the mountains. So if you're below 16, then I would strongly suggest doing whatever fetch quests you can to get up to at least 16. Do the time deliveries when you can. Combine your steps when you can. If anything's going to the photographer or that distribution center you were just at, take it to Mountain Knot City and put it in the private locker. You're kind of pushing it that way. You can make 1 delivery at the end of this and keep going. You should be able to 5-star the Mountaineer, the Doctor, Hartman, Geologist, Paleontologist, Evo Devo, and maybe even the Spiritualist in a relatively short period of time. I have no idea what that would be. 3-4 hours maybe. I don't know. It does still take time to zip line around, so keep that in mind. You want to end up at Mountain Knot, and we're going to make a trip back down that way, but you can leave everything in the private locker for now. The only thing I suggest you do before you leave is run over to the doctor real quick and see if the first prepper delivery is available again, if it's respawned. It's been a couple hours, it might. If it has, take it up to him. It's worth it. Not only will it get you mad likes for him, it will get you more levels for your timed delivery category, which is starting to become important. The next thing we're going to do, and we're going to start with this in the next video, is build a zip line across to the other half of the map. So we're going to we should have some stuff in private lockers for this area. So we're going to go ahead and do that and then come back down and finish up. But yeah, that's all I really have for this video. Hopefully this is a little bit helpful. I know this is the hard part, but at least having the zip line and working on the first prepper should help you quite a bit. So yep, I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, stay bad, people. Non-gone is gone.